today on Divorce Court.
I'm here on divorce court today to try to save my relationship with my fiance and try to move forward with our family.
Terrence, I want you to know the biggest concern that I have right now is a trust and abandonment issue.
The biggest issues that I have with Latrice is her anger and her lack of respect towards me.
I would love the judge to help me with making sure that if we do decide to get married, that this is the right decision.
I want the judge to tell Latrice, you need to grow up and treat me as your future husband and show me more respect.
In order for us to be able to walk down the aisle together, we have things that we need to work on.
Divorce Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lynn Toller presiding.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Latrice Ben and Terrence Sharp. Ms. Ben and Mr. Sharp, you have been together for 3 years. You've been engaged for 8 months. You have one child together who's 1 year old. You're here on or before the vows. You love each other, but you're just not quite sure you can make it work, so you've come to me for my advice. Ms. Ben, I'm going to start with you. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your relationship and why we ended up here today?
Well, Your Honor, today we're here to see if we do need to be married or not.
Okay. What are the problems? What's the main problem that you see?
The main problem that I have is trust and abandonment issues with Terrence. When I was 7 months pregnant, Terrence abandoned me in Austin, and how that came about was my family.
I'll let you speak. Go ahead.
My family came from out of town, so I traveled with them, and Terrence promised me and my family that he would be coming to pick me up. Towards the end of the weekend, I'm calling Terrence to let him know, hey, I'm ready to go. The weekend's over with. You told me you were gonna come get me. He immediately, oh, I can't come. My tags are expired. I have outstanding tickets in Waco.
They were.
At this point,
Do you think he was lying, or do you think he was just jammed up?
At this point, I believe it was just excuses, because how can you sit here and promise me that you were going to pick me up?
Man had no business on the road. And I know he promised you, and I know you felt bad because he didn't show up, but the law is the law. You know, you got to take care of your situation before you get out on the road. Your tags got to be right. You got to take care of your tickets.
And you're completely right, but he didn't tell me this until it was time for me to pick me up.
That's something he knew all along, and he could have told you and didn't have to promise you. Mr. Sharp, what do you have to say about that?
She's been knowing that this whole time, Your Honor. No. And she knew my tags was out.
Car stuff. That's something that you don't need to have a problem with.
You're right.
What do you think the biggest problem in your relationship is?
I think it's her anger.
Give me a story about her anger.
For instance, we was on a flight finna board here, and she went to, I would say, the people before the gate, like, to ask questions.
Right.
I thought she was gonna ask the lady a question. And she was giving her the tickets, and the lady was like, what's your question? And she said, oh, I thought you needed the tickets. And she was like, no. And she was looking at me because she thought I was giggling and siding with the lady because she didn't have a question for her.
He was.
And so as we walked off to go sit down, she threw the tickets on the ground. And I'm looking like, man, did she just do that? And then this guy just looking at me like, what you gonna do, man? You gonna pick him up or not? You gonna pick him up or not? I'm like, man. So I tried to put the suitcase in front of me and grab the tickets, you know, and try to, you know, hurry up and sit down. But yeah, it's her
Did
anger.
you get hot?
Yes,
at the airport about a misunderstanding?
No, so it wasn't necessarily that. You know, he's following me. You're standing beside me. You see where I'm walking. Why aren't you asking me what I'm doing? And then I get up there, and the woman is looking at me like, what are you doing up here? Why are you handing me the tickets?
Judge.
And he's laughing.
Judge.
He made me feel like I was dumb for going up there. Like, you're laughing with the woman. Like, she's looking at me like I'm...
I don't think the woman was laughing
I
at
don't,
you.
She was. She
wasn't laughing. See, that's another problem. She thinks everybody is after her if they don't side with her. It's like she always...
Give me another example.
Okay, the day before that. We were moving. We were moving in the midst of moving, right?
Right.
And, you know, I got the U-Haul, but I have to have the U-Haul back at a certain time. So I tell her, Latrice, I need you to take me back up to the U-Haul. She was like, can't you see I'm unpacking things? I'm like, that can wait. No, I'm unpacking. You just gonna have to wait, or you just gonna have to get a fine. I'm like, I'm not finna get fined for this, man. And so, you know, luckily my stepfather, he took me.
Miss Benton, are you hot-headed? Do you get angry a little bit every day?
I wouldn't say I was angry. It was more so of, we have a son. So I had already went to pick him up. So I was making him a bottle of milk. I wasn't unpacking. I was looking through the boxes to see where his bottle was. So it wasn't more so of an issue with taking him there because I knew I had to.
But did you get irritated?
I was irritated because I'm trying to give your son a bottle of milk to make sure he's okay before I go, and you're rushing me. I know what we need to do. Give me time.
I never rush.
You were rushing me.
She rushes me all
rushing me.
She rushes me all.
You are so beautiful.
Thank you.
And I wish you felt beautiful too. And sometimes when people are always thinking, you know, that the agent was laughing at her and I was irritated because he wanted me to stop. I mean, this is 48 hours. I think there's a sense of vulnerability there when you get that angry about such little things so frequently. And I think you don't believe in your own value. So you got your dukes ups all the time, ready to spar somebody because they calling me stupid. Oh, they're calling me dumb. Bop, bop, bop. You know, I'm gonna hit them before they hit me. Did I get it?
I be dancing like Sugar Ray Leonard
Yeah.
all the time.
Did I get it?
Yeah.
Aren't you tired?
I am.
It's exhausting to live like that.
It is.
It's like a soldier on guard duty all the time. And people are always throwing incoming at you. And you can't.
Yeah.
And the problem is, when you can't, he can't either.
Literally.
So I'm going to come back to that a little bit later, but I want you to tell me, in your own words, Ms. Ben, why you don't feel appreciated.
I felt alone, and going through that as a woman, you fall in a state of depression. So it's not easy to deal with.
Mr. Sharp, what is your response to that? Do you feel that you were supportive? So, Ms. Ben, why do you say you don't feel appreciated in your relationship?
I don't feel appreciated because at my job, the only thing constant is change. So it's been times where I'll work 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. Or I'll work 10-hour shifts.
Right.
So it's been times I'll come home. Terrence has EJ, that's our son, and I'll walk into the living room. It's a trashed. EJ has toys everywhere. Pillows.
It's the hot mess.
Everywhere. I can't even put my things down. Oh, can you go ahead and feed him? Can you change him? He needs to be changed. Go ahead and wash the dishes.
Judge.
I'll do all of that. I'll do all of it.
I got you. What's your response to that?
She gets home late, right?
Yeah?
When she gets home, for the most part, he's asleep. And I do the dishes. And when I do the dishes, she complains and say, oh, they're all dirty, and throws them right back in the sink. So,
all right. I want to go on to a more serious issue. Ms. Ben, you say you had a miscarriage, and I'm so sorry to hear that, but you say that Mr. Sharp was not supportive during that process. Why don't you tell me about that?
During the time of the miscarriage, we just up and left. You know, it's an emergency. So we went to the emergency room, and I'm sorry.
Take your time.
During that time, you know, of course, our son is tired. He's woken up in the middle of the night.
Right.
Thank you. He's woken up in the middle of the night, so of course he's sleepy. Terrence left while I was in the emergency bed to go take him to daycare, I believe. But still at the same time, it wouldn't have mattered because I stayed home. So I felt like, well, you're worried about taking him to daycare. Do you not understand what I'm going through right now? Like, I was only a month pregnant and everything was fine. So for me to just sit here and have, you know, what we're going through, I've never dealt with this before. He wasn't supportive afterwards. He didn't comfort me, didn't ask if I was okay. I felt alone. And going through that, as a woman, you fall in a state of depression. So it's not easy to deal with. I still deal with it, you know. It comes about every so often, but I'm handling it better than
you did.
Than I was before.
Mr. Sharp, what is your response to that? Do you feel that you were supportive?
I took our son to daycare so I can tend to her needs. When I took him to daycare, I picked her up from the hospital and I made sure, you know, she got up the stairs and I set her down and I asked her, what do you need? I went to go pick up her medicine and I got her food. I believe I took the whole day off just to tend to her needs, you know.
What did he need to do that he didn't do?
He just wasn't asking me if I'm okay, really comforting me. I don't want to have to tell you what to do. If you see that I'm upset and I'm not myself, hold me. You know, talk to me, love on me. You didn't do any of that. You didn't seem like you really understood what, no, you don't, what I was going through.
Can I say this to the both? Can I say this to you, to the both of you? Having a miscarriage, having a baby, being pregnant involves these like ginormous changes in hormone levels, and it causes you to be very upset and very emotional. And to some extent, dudes just don't get it. They try, but they usually don't hit the mark as far as the support is concerned. You got to be able to verbalize even when you're in pain, like you need to hold me, need to talk to me, something. You need to tell them.
And I can't read her mind.
You know what I'm saying? And I know it's not, you know, they shouldn't. You should know that they don't.
Right.
And I think something horrible happened to you, and he's an easier target than the amorphousness of having lost a child. You know what I mean? Because he sounded like he showed up.
He showed up, but it was not during the time where it was more, you know, when they have to do everything that they need to do. He wasn't, you know,
But he had to take the one-year-old in, right?
Exactly. And, you know, that was my first time having a loss and having to deal with that myself. And, you know, I'm not the perfect man. I can't just understand everything, you know. I thought I was doing everything right. I was sitting there.
You were trying.
Yeah, I was sitting there the whole time. I took the whole day off just to tend to her. And about when it was time to go pick up our son, I made sure she was okay to go pick him up.
Yeah. I think a lot of men and women miss each other on that one. I think a lot of people do. Now we're going to turn to another topic. I want to talk about the clash of cultures, you being Hispanic and you being black, and how you two aren't getting along on that particular issue. I understand you have taken her to church.
Right.
And Ms. Ben, you didn't like that church.
No, I didn't.
Why don't you tell me what kind of experience you had in, I assume, a black church? If you would like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Missed the show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms, and for exclusive content, go to Apple TV. I understand you have taken her to church.
Right.
And Ms. Ben, you didn't like that church.
No, I didn't.
Why don't you tell me what kind of experience you had in, I assume, a black church? Right?
Yes, it is.
AME, Baptist?
Oh, it's Baptist.
Baptist, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe this was probably on Father's Day, the day we went to church. Coming from a smaller church, I like to be interactive with everyone. You know, I like to be able to know everyone. It was overwhelming. It was a lot of people.
Right.
So I was being bum rushed and everything.
They weren't bum rushing at church.
Preach.
You tend to take in anything that you're not familiar with as negative. You know? There's a lot of love and a lot of loud and a lot of pop at the Black Baptist Church, but ain't nobody bum rush you unless they're passing the basket.
Well, they were moving really fast at a fast pace.
Y'all been there, yeah. Go ahead.
So when we got there, I like to be able to listen to the word, actually feel the spirit, you know. I like to be into it. The way that the pastor was preaching, I felt like this isn't right. You know, he was calling himself God. And I'm like, what? I'm not going to give an offering to a man who is referring to himself as God. I don't believe in that.
I think he was basically saying he was, you know, getting the word
Give
from
your
God.
money to God. That's what he was saying.
He said what?
Give your money to God, referring to himself. That's what he was saying.
No, that's not what he was saying.
That's what he was saying.
I think you misinterpret stuff a lot.
No, I remember.
The lady at the thing, okay. Mr. Sharp, you say that Ms. Ben does not embrace her own race. Tell me about that.
For example, we go over my mom and my stepfather's house. Mostly on Sundays. Lately, she hasn't been going because she's been working on Sundays or whatever, so it'll just be me and my son. My stepfather loves to cook. And, you know, he's Southern, you know, so he cooks a lot of, you know, soul food. And so I always think of Latrice. I bring her a plate home when she gets home. And when she gets the plate, she looks at me and she's like, I don't want none of this. I'm like, what's wrong? I don't eat black people food. That's what she said. I don't eat black people food. It's too greasy.
That's not what
I'm like, seriously? Fried chicken? It's chicken. You gotta use grease to cook fried chicken.
Right. Right. Miss Ben, do you talk about black people food?
No, that's not how you definitely took that out of context. I'm half Hispanic. So I was raised around my Hispanic family. My mother is Hispanic. My father is Hispanic.
I got that. Okay.
So I'm used to eating Mexican food. So that's all I'm used. That's what I grew up on. So when I moved out here with him and living with his family, and I had to, what is this? I don't know what this is. Like, I've never had this before. It looks different to me. So
no,
I don't.
I don't know. But does she complain about it? I don't understand the problem. You go into a different house.
I eat it.
Like we living in Italy or something. Like it's so foreign. Like she eating sushi or something. Like it's a cuisine from France or something. I'm like, lady, it's fried chicken and fries.
It's not that deep.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not that deep. You guys got a kid together. You love each other tremendously. I'm going to try to get you over the hurdle. You are beautiful. You are intelligent. You are capable. You are strong. You have yourself a handsome, working, strong, goal-oriented man who loves you to pieces and is a little bit fine. You have so much, but you're a dark seeker. You've got all these rays of beautiful light shining all around you, and in the midst of all of this glowing and coruscating light, you look for the sliver of dark, and once you find it, you stay on it. And you say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And you get angrier and angrier and angrier. No woman at the stand was laughing at me because I asked her, what do you mean I gotta go to the U-Haul right now when you're moving in a house with a man with your baby? See? You gotta stop getting stuck on the little bit that's wrong so you can see all that's right. You can be happy every day. Look for the light, and you might need to go see somebody because it's usually a self-esteem issue. You don't feel good about yourself, so everything that goes wrong speaks to your center and yourself. This brother loves you. Don't dark him away. Stay strong, stay centered. Help her out with this. I think you are a great dude. Just a great dude. You see what I see, right? And you see what I see? I want you to be happy. Because you got everything in the world to be happy about.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't miss it looking for the dark, okay? Good luck to the both of you. This matter is adjourned.
Today? What's some advice that you're going to take with you and move forward to make this work?
I'm definitely going to, try to better myself and stop looking for the negative and everything.
I can, just say encouraging words. I'm going to have to start applying more of that to our daily.